The story kicks off with our main girl, Xing who's 20 and has always believed in gods. She thought they were all-powerful, all-knowing, and super kind. But she lost faith after her enemies killed her loved one and sent her to hell. Now, after being held captive by her enemy, Yuan Lin, for 5 years, she hears that Yuan Lin, who was supposed to marry her, has just become the CEO of the Li Group and announced he's in a new relationship. The news also says that Xing Li and her brothers disappeared 5 years ago, and that Yuan Lin, with the help of his sister-in-law, Zhen Li, took over the entire Li Group. Seeing that news on TV while being held captive and tortured shakes Xing Li to her core. From that moment on, she realizes there are no gods in this world, only devils. Yuan Lin, who comes to torture her even more, brings a coffin and places it in front of her. Inside are her brothers' bodies, all mixed up and stitched together by Yuan Lin. Xing Li is so shocked and furious that she can't even speak, only cry, her hands tied and unable to do anything. Zhen Li finishes off her sister by using sulfuric acid. In her final moments, as Xing Li thinks about her beloved family, she wishes she could start her life over. Suddenly, a notification window pops up saying, "Scum Defeater Growing System loading." It explains that by tormenting scumbags and absorbing their negative feelings, called revenge value, the user gains power. As the user gets stronger, they'll unlock the path to revenge and rebirth. Then it asks if she accepts. Without hesitating, Xing Li, with her fingerless hands, taps the yes button on the notification window. She's determined to dive into darkness and become a demon. So, she comes back to life in her new form, ready for revenge. It looks like something intense is happening with Xing's new body. A guy attacks her in bed, accusing her of eavesdropping on his plans in the Li's garden. When she wakes up in this new body, he calls her Azuo. She quickly grabs a nearby alarm clock and hits him on the head repeatedly, not giving him any chance to survive. As she checks the date on the clock and looks in the mirror, she wonders whose body she's now in. In her new body, Xing runs as fast as she can, trying to remember whose body she's in and what time period it is. She realizes she's traveled back 5 years and been reborn into Azuo's body, the butler's daughter. Xing recalls that around this time, Yuan Lin promised to help her find clues about her parents' disappearance and lured her into a hotel room in the USA, where he revealed his true nature and confined her in a basement for 5 years. She also remembers that Azuo went missing the day before she left the house. She never expected Azuo to be captured like this. Xing keeps running, looking for a place to hide before her attacker wakes up. Spotting an open door, she quickly slips inside. Now let me introduce our male protagonist, Mr. Song. He has a meeting with the Huasheng Group's board of directors tomorrow, and his personal assistant just told him he can rest in the guest room provided. Jixing Song, or just Song for short, has striking eyes and silver hair. He orders his assistant to leave, then checks his temperature and heartbeat on his smartwatch to make sure everything's normal. As Song steps into his room and closes the door, Xing suddenly appears behind him, pressing a knife to his throat and warning him to stay silent. She had been taking a shower to wash off the bloodstains, but didn't have time to change before the guest arrived. So she's only wrapped in a towel. Unsure of what to do next, she's caught off guard when Song slaps her hand, knocking the knife away. He then turns around and pushes Xing onto the bed. With a stern glare, Song demands to know who she is. Xing is taken aback, feeling strange as she tries to speak, her voice sounding unfamiliar. She also senses her body heating up. Recognizing something off about the woman before him, Song checks the room and discovers incense. He then questions Xing about how long she's been in the room. Xing responds with an odd tone that sounds like she's trying to flirt. Song informs her that she's been poisoned, a trap meant for him, but it seems a rat got caught instead. Closing in on Xing's face while holding her hand, Song warns her that he'll let her go, but she'll have to pay for barging into his room. Suddenly, Xing grabs him, shocking him, and flips him onto the bed. Now it's Xing who's pinning Song down, leaving him stunned by the sudden turn of events. With a seductive expression, Xing takes charge, gently caressing Song's face, causing him to blush furiously. Regaining his composure, Song tries to push Xing away, insisting she get off him. He checks his body temp and heart rate, finding they're still normal. But Xing isn't done yet. While nibbling on Song's ear, she insists she won't stop until he promises to let her go. However, in reality, Xing's mind is conflicted. The incense seems to have clouded her judgment. Meanwhile, Song's face is now beet red, shocked by Xing's actions. Grabbing her hand, Song shouts, threatening her to get off him immediately, or else something terrible will happen. Rather than backing off, Xing tightens her grip on Song's hand, agreeing to let it happen. She boldly leans in and kisses Song's lips, leaving him frozen in shock. With passionate intensity, she kisses him, causing him to panic internally. His hand trembles as he checks his heartbeat and body temperature on his smartwatch, which shows a high rate. Suddenly, as if by magic, Song transforms into a child right before Xing's eyes. The terrible thing has occurred. Song despises women, primarily because he believes they're the most complex creatures on Earth. On one hand, they can be gentle and resilient, shining like angels in their maternal role. But more often than not, they're cunning and deceitful, using their charm to hide their true desires. Despite the belief that the eyes can see through everything, they still can't decipher a woman's complicated heart. In Song's view, women are a mental poison, a dreadful curse. They're overly ambitious, always trying to ensnare any man who falls into their trap. To him, they're hunters. Once, there was a company aiming to collaborate with Song's company. They sent this woman to handle the negotiations, but Song, with his icy attitude toward women, wasn't swayed by her supposedly stunning appearance. Instead, he shattered her company's poor reputation, leaving her stunned. Despite her attempts to seduce him, Song was only annoyed and pushed her away with a deathly glare. Song didn't appear to fear anything, considering he's the most powerful guy in China. Like those typical successful guys in stories, he's honest, level-headed, down-to-earth, and keeps his distance from women. As the 20th CEO in the Song Group's history, he's held the title of the hottest CEO for 5 years straight. Rumor has it, he's not into women. The reason Song keeps his distance from women isn't just that he can't figure them out. It's because he's smart. Since he was a kid, he's always been able to see through their acts. The second reason he hates women is that if he deals with them and his heartbeat hits over 100 beats per minute at midnight, he'll turn into a kid. Just like now, after dealing with Xing, he's turned into a child. Xing finds him cute and hugs him. Despite Song's attempts to wriggle free, in his child form, he can't do much except give up, as Xing hugs him tightly. The next morning, Song wakes up to find Xing sleeping beside him. His thoughts drift back to his ancestors' words, reminding him of their family's curse. The Song family is believed to be cursed, originating from an ancestor in the Nan Song dynasty. This ancestor promised a female demon eternal love, but broke his vow, resulting in a curse that would turn his descendants into children under certain conditions. They'd never be able to stay with their loved ones. The curse has haunted them for generations. If Song's heartbeat goes over 100 BPM because of a woman, he'll turn into a child from midnight to 6 a.m. Glancing at the still sleeping Xing, Song recalls how to break the curse. He grabs Xing's neck, knowing that by killing a woman, the curse will be broken. In that moment, Song freezes as he notices fresh injuries and bruises all over Xing's body, wondering why she's covered in scars. He hesitates to kill Xing, who's still asleep. But then his assistant, Yu Bai, knocks on the door, reminding him about his packed schedule for the day. Giving Yu Bai permission to enter, Song, already dressed, points to Xing wrapped in blankets on the bed, instructing Yu Bai to find out what he can about the woman. Getting ready to leave, Song also tells Yu Bai to book another plane ticket, as he plans to take Xing back with him. Confused by the scene, Yu Bai bombards Song with questions, but Song doesn't bother to answer. Song recalls a conversation with his grandpa back then. He asked if there was another way to break the curse besides killing, and his grandpa said the alternative was for the woman to give birth to Song's child. It seems Song is contemplating the second option, though he knows it'll be quite a challenge. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the guy who attacked Xing earlier gets caught by some guards. It looks like they're giving him a beating for failing his mission, now that Azuo, Xing's new body, is missing. This old guy, Ping Jing, informs his boss Yuan Lin that they were going to put Xing Li under house arrest. She was forced to transfer her company shares to Yuan Lin in exchange for her parents' lives. Ping Jing expresses concern that the shareholders won't just let Yuan Lin take over without a document signed by Xing Li herself. He then asks Yuan Lin what their next move should be. Yuan Lin stays cool and instructs Ping Jing to tell the press that Xing Li is being targeted by the Assassin Alliance, a worldwide intel and hit organization. He says to say that Xing has already been snatched and her location is a mystery. Yuan emphasizes that as Xing's fiancé and the Li family's adopted son, he's in charge while she's MIA. Hearing this, Ping Jing thinks it's a brilliant plan and believes everything will go smoothly. But Yuan Lin can't figure out how Azuo, Xing's new body, managed to slip away with all the bodyguards around. He wonders if someone helped her without his knowledge. Ping Jing suggests sending more men to search the hotel area, but Yuan Lin dismisses it, saying that Azuo likely assumed a fake identity and has already fled the country. At the airport, inside the plane, Xing is in disguise, wearing a cap and a suit, seated in her seat. She looks over the paper containing her information, her new body's name and details. Her real name is Hua Li, adopted daughter of Zhengting Li, the chauffeur of Hui Li, head of the Li Group. She's also enrolled in one of Haicheng's most elite schools. Due to her lack of smarts, she's unpopular and has earned the nickname Azuo, meaning clumsy. Even though Xing and Azuo shared a roof for 20 years, Xing never did more than glance or nod in Azuo's direction. It never occurred to her that Azuo would be the one to help her survive now. 2 hours ago, Yubai was just doing his job, digging up info about Xing like Song asked. But then, Xing came out of nowhere, knocked him down, grabbed all the papers, and swiped Yubai's clothes. Thanks to that, she's able to slip into the role of Azuo without a hitch, plotting her revenge without getting caught. As Xing reads the paper, breaking news flashes across the plane's TV screen. It announces that Xing Li, daughter of the big-shot entrepreneur Hui Li, got snatched up by some infamous murderer while traveling in the USA with her fiancé. It goes on to say that Yuan Lin, in response, vowed to run the family biz while hunting for his missing wifey. Hearing this, it fuels Xing's fire for revenge even more, swearing not to let Yuan Lin off the hook. Back in China at Haicheng University, staring at her reflection in the mirror, Xing still can't believe it. Even though she's seen her new face countless times, the solid feeling of the floor beneath her feet, her intact vocal cords, and her perfect, unscarred skin still amaze her. Just 3 days ago, Xing was reincarnated into another girl's body. She thinks she should thank Azuo for being so invisible at school. Because of that and the info she got the other day, no one has noticed she's not really Azuo. As for Azuo's father, Zhengting Li, he's a middle-aged man who fell into alcoholism after Xing's father went missing, and he lost his job. Azuo disappeared for a whole week, and her father didn't even call the police. It's clear he's a lousy dad who doesn't care about his daughter. Xing knows she needs to get used to her new life ASAP, so she can start planning her revenge. Out of the blue, a group of upset girls barges into the restroom, directing their anger towards Xing. Xing looks at them, still processing the situation, but her expression remains indifferent. The leader of the group, acting like a gangster, blames Xing for causing her trouble due to Xing's absence for a week. With an arrogant look, she orders Xing to kneel down. Staying calm, Xing responds to the bully, which only fuels her anger more. Suddenly, a notification window appears, showing the revenge value Xing collected from these bullies. Xing realizes she has activated the Scum Abuse system. Another notification window pops up, offering a choice of skills. As she examines the notification, Xing understands that the Scum Abuse system automatically collects satisfaction points and allows her to improve herself. The options include beauty, wisdom, strength, wealth, and a mysterious black box that will unlock after reaching certain achievements. After thinking it over for a moment, Xing decides to go with the most important skill she needs right now: strength. Choosing a skill uses up some of the points she's gained. Now she knows she can defend herself. As soon as she gets her new skill, she tries it out when the bully moves to attack her, effortlessly sending the bully flying. But it doesn't stop there. The bully gets up, ready to strike back. However, Xing's hand is faster, smacking the bully right in the face. The bully is now terrified by Xing's sudden change, even finding Xing's stare intimidating. Feeling trapped and unable to retaliate, the bully bolts with her crew. Checking out her own strength, Xing feels pretty satisfied with what she's got. Then, out of the blue, a couple strolls up from behind, and the chick starts teasing Xing for her actions. It's Xie, Azuo's classmate, known as the Snow White Princess. She's all high and mighty, thinking everyone should bow down to her. Xie is a real self-centered jerk who can't stand not being in the spotlight and gets off on putting down folks like Azuo. Ignoring them, Xing walks away, telling Xue to mind her own business and suggesting she find a hobby like jail. This really ticks off Xue. But then, Xue's sidekick comes up to Xing, trying to hit on her by saying she looks better after her week-long disappearance. Seeing her partner flirting, Xue gets mad at him, though he doesn't seem scared. Fueled with anger, Xue tells Xing not to get cocky, showing off her list of past boyfriends on her phone and bragging about her many relationships while Xing has none. But Xing stays cool, leaning in close and whispering in her ear that she wouldn't need to hop from guy to guy if someone actually liked her, questioning if she's admitting she's a bit of a player. Xie gets even more enraged at what Xing says, but the onlookers apparently give Xing some satisfaction points, which gets her even more pumped. Xie's partner tries to put his arm around Xing, asking her out on a date. But quick as lightning, Xing grabs his face and gives him a look that says he's way too ugly to be a ladies' man. Then she tosses him aside. Everyone thinks Xing's pretty ruthless, but Xue's partner gets back up and looks like he's about to hit back at Xing. Suddenly, someone steps in and blocks his fist from reaching Xing. To Xing's surprise, it's her dear brother who saved her. With a gentle look, he turns to Xing and reminds her that she's part of the Li family, so she shouldn't let anyone walk all over her. When Xing's second brother shows up, the crowd goes wild. He's none other than the famous actor Zheng Li, the heartthrob. Now that they can see him up close, they're blown away by how good-looking he is. Zheng Li, Xing's second bro, started his acting career when he was only 17 and bagged 3 Best Actor awards before he turned 20. Even compared to other celebs, he's like a god in terms of looks. He's the crush of many female stars, but no one's ever managed to get him into bed, despite countless tries. At home, though, Zheng's just a stingy teenager who mooches Xing's skincare products. Zheng tells his bodyguard to handle the bullies, who waste no time dragging them away. Meanwhile, the crowd is lining up for his autograph. As for Xing, she's in shock seeing her brother alive and well. It takes her back to their childhood days, when he used to tease her until she cried. But now, he's standing in front of her, all warm and caring, asking if she's okay. He's so expressive, but the best part is, he's still alive and breathing. But it's not the time for Xing to relax just yet. Yuan Lin is still out there, and she's dead set on not putting her brother in harm's way. Xing thanks her brother for his help. Even though she really wants to call him brother, she can't. Zheng then scribbles down a phone number on a piece of paper and hands it to Xing, telling her to reach out to that person whenever she's in a jam, instead of causing trouble for the Li family. Xing's taken aback for a moment, watching Zheng as he walks away. Xing figures as long as they're both alive, They'll bump into each other again sometime, but for now, she's got to be patient. Still, she can't help but wonder if her second brother is always this kind to random girls. After parting ways with Xing, Zheng dials someone up right away. He reminds the person on the other end that they still owe him a favor, and he needs them to watch over someone for him. Turns out, it's Song he's talking to. Song wonders if the person Jing wants to protect is important to him. But Zheng's all business, saying he'll send the info soon, and then they'll be square. Song agrees without prying further. Taking a quick peek at Xing from behind, Jing realizes she's in Zhuo's body and hopes she's not stressing out about anything. Turns out, he's been brought back to life too, and he's dead set on getting revenge. At the mall, as she walks, Xing thinks about her revenge plan. But she realizes she's missing a ton of info since she was locked up for 5 years. She doesn't know how Yuan Lin took over the Li Group so smoothly. Plus, she's clueless about how many execs and shareholders he's bought off or what he's planning next. But she figures the only way out is to hack into the world's biggest intelligence system, AA. The AA system, the biggest intel and hitman hub worldwide, is pretty brutal. In just a few years, it's gotten huge. They team up with top dogs like scientists, politicians, hackers, even some shady characters. They handle everything from big-time conflicts to family feuds. The founder's a bit of an oddball, supposedly selling intel based on his mood swings. Xing knows her plan ain't as easy as hiring a hitman to off Yuan Lin. She promises to make him pay big time for what he did to her family before she lets him off the hook. On her way to the mall, Xing earned more revenge points by scolding people for letting their dogs run loose, calling out pervs on the subway, and dealing with exhibitionists. Now, she's got enough cash to snag herself a computer and start digging into her investigation. Meanwhile, Yu Bai, with a bunch of bodyguards behind him, fills Song in on the completion of an area acquisition, urging him to check it out and sort out staff transfers by the end of the day. Yu Bai also drops the news that Zhuo, Xing's new body, is back at school. Fate must be at play because Song spots Xing nearby. He's taken aback for a sec, but when Yu Bai hints at inviting her over for a chat in private, Song brushes it off with a confident grin, saying it's not needed anymore. Xing heads into the computer shop after checking it out for a bit. The saleswoman greets her with a smile, but Xing cuts to the chase, asking for the cheapest computer. The saleswoman's expression quickly shifts to annoyance. As Xing starts to check out a computer, the saleswoman stops her, telling her not to touch it if she can't afford it. She looks down on Xing, saying even their lowest range is pretty pricey. Xing glares at the saleswoman, realizing she likes to hassle customers. Xing thinks about teaching her a lesson. Out of nowhere, Xing says the shop owner must be quite generous, hiring people with mental challenges. The saleswoman, annoyed, snaps back that their computers get dirty easily, and it's better not to touch them unless you plan to buy one. With a determined look, Xing tells the saleswoman to bring out all the models of that brand, because she's buying them all. The saleswoman hesitates, wondering if she misjudged Xing and if she might actually be wealthy. Xing starts to leave, asking if the saleswoman isn't going to follow a customer's request, and saying she'll find another store. The saleswoman's attitude does a complete 180. She invites Xing to sit and enjoy a cup of tea while she heads to the storeroom. Meanwhile, Yu Bai asks Song if he wants him to send someone to get Xing for a talk. But with his usual confident look, Song declines again. After a while, the saleswoman returns, struggling to push a trolley loaded with computer boxes. Xing asks if she brought them all by herself, and the saleswoman confirms with a sly grin, thinking she's hit the jackpot with this wealthy, naive customer. But then, Xing coolly tells her that since she touched all the computers, they're dirty now, and she doesn't want them anymore. Furious, the saleswoman reaches out toward Xing, but Xing splashes her with water from her cup, stopping her in her tracks. Xing points out that she's just returning the favor, echoing what the saleswoman said to her earlier. Soaked and furious, the saleswoman glares at her. Onlookers, however, seem pleased, muttering that she deserved it for being so obsessed with money. The saleswoman angrily grabs her phone to call security to kick Xing out, but someone suddenly snatches it from her. It's Song, who appears out of nowhere, taking the phone and questioning her about how she treats customers. Seeing Song there, Xing is taken by surprise. The saleswoman, undeterred, points at Xing and tells Song that Xing was deliberately making her job difficult and that she did nothing wrong. Xing tries to slip away, but Song suddenly grabs her waist, preventing her from leaving. With one arm around her waist and the other holding her hand, Song declares that he's there to stand up for his wife. Naturally, this turn of events leaves Xing utterly confused.